start like a little shop in the community,
And
but
stay
they've never
put.
thought about making it across the country or into other regions and things like that. And so that's one of the pieces that's always been lacking, and something that I want to see change.
Viewers, I'm back once again with my brother from another mother, Andre Smith, to talk about life, to talk about money and business. It's been a year since we connected, and oh my goodness, I know a lot has been going on with him. Um, just a wee bit about Andre, if you don't Andre is passionate about family, about business, and money. I'm honored to have him back on the show. He is a business owner and a financial educator, I should say. With his background in accounting, he sees the need to educate many of us about money. So, this led to the development of the tech app Flip Academy, a revolutionary app designed to help kids learn, save, invest, and break generational cycles. And I thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for having
Thank
me
you.
once
Welcome
more.
back to the Nana Yaya Bua podcast.
Appreciate it. How are you doing?
I'm doing I'm doing really good. I'm doing good. I'm still here. I
Yes.
don't have extra hair on. So definitely transformation. I was watching our other video, which I think I titled "Keys to Building Generational Wealth," which
Right.
you dropped a lot of nuggets. But even since then, it's been a year. A lot has happened and continue to happen. As you said, you're watching the inauguration. Trump is back. Tariffs here, tariffs there, all
Yep.
these things, and then we're also looking at a financial system that is that the interest rates are slowly gradually being decreased and we having
Hmm.
some sort of control over inflation, but many of us still feel that inflation hit our pockets the most. And we're talking about investment. It's like, how do you invest with all these things going on? So I think your role today is to help us navigate all these changing modes. And a key aspect for me personally is blacks and technology. So we'll
Hmm.
revisit the fourth industrial revolution, which is technology, and that um, we take it from there. What do you
Absolutely.
think?
Yeah, no, you've touched on a lot of points that are really important. I don't know if it was your page that I saw this on or someone else, and they were saying their word for 2025 is uncertainty because there's so many changes taking place. We see what is happening in Canada,
Yes.
the inauguration taking place today in the US. Interest rates are
Yes.
coming down, but even with interest rates coming down, a lot of people are in debt. A lot of people are struggling right now because of that inflationary period that they've experienced, right? With rapidly rising interest rates, rapidly rising, food and living expenses. So people had to rely heavily on credit. So even though interest rates are coming down, people are still struggling. And honestly, it's gonna take a while for people to feel comfortable and to be in a position where they feel like they're not being squeezed. I think you've raised a point about uncertainty, and this is one of the things that for me as an entrepreneur, I see uncertainty as sort of like my playing ground because I start thinking what opportunities exist to start making more money, and I think that's one of the things that we were talking about earlier when I
Mm-hmm.
said like I'm looking at what business venture I can start next because there's just always opportunity. And the other piece you touched on, which is tech, something that I've gotten so passionate about. It was such an interesting pivot in my life, moving from strictly focusing on accounting and finance to be building a tech platform. And right now, we are building and training three different AI models, one of which focuses on the behavioral side of finance, which is quite interesting for us. It's just amazing where your purpose and your passion can take you to places where you've never imagined going. So we're super excited about 2025. I mean, 2024, I will tell you, I've shared with a lot of people, and I'm happy to talk more about it. It was one of those years that was really interesting for me in business. A lot of things went really well, but a lot of things were a wake up call. It is crazy that there was this huge juxtaposition between things going well and things going bad at the same time. And I think that's one of the skills that you have to have as an entrepreneur is how do you really bring all of that together? You know what I mean?
Yes. So what are some of the things that went really well for you in 2024, and what are some of the challenges that you had to face?
Yeah, certainly. So the thing, let's start probably with the things that went really well. So I think from a reputational standpoint, I scored a lot of points last year. That was a key part of my focus was really establishing key relationships with different people. We saw Flip and Floss got received multiple awards, such as the top entrepreneur of the year. I received the top 25 immigrant award. I've gotten awards for winning pitching competitions. So a lot of key success. We've raised money for the business from friends and family, and we got this 15,000 legal grant that helped us to incorporate in the U.S. And so now we are looking at a U.S. based expansion, and we've established a lot of key relationships that we're looking to further enhance those relationships this year. And there are so many other things that went really well. But one of the biggest challenge for me last year was my real estate portfolio. And that really started out with inefficient management, right? I was so caught up in the business that I'm doing here that real estate portfolio back in Jamaica took a really big hit, right? And you know, there are a lot of things that I discovered that weren't being done properly, and it has affected operations, and we've incurred some amount of losses because of those inefficient practices. And the truth is, I'm in a position right now where I'm looking at divesting and start thinking about reinvesting into something else, right? And I mean that's part of the beauty when I talk about opportunity and uncertainty. It is your ability to pivot. You have to recognize when something is not working, and it may not be working because of poor management, just like I said,
Yeah.
but there's an opportunity, and that's part of the reason why I love asset, because you can decide how you want to restructure things. So I'm in that process right now of restructuring. That was one of the biggest challenges for me last year. I mean, it did cause a lot of hiccups along the way. We've had to uh, downscale, right? So we had to. There was a cleaning component to the business that I used to do, the property management side. There was a property management side. There was a cleaning side. I've had to drop the cleaning side. I've had to drop the property management side and just focus on my properties only, right? So
Okay.
that's sort of like what I had to do to start, really focusing on things and bringing back things together. The other thing that didn't go well, I would say, which is crazy, and you know, with being an entrepreneur, entrepreneurs love to build things. We love to make a lot more money. So that's been
Yes.
my focus is like keep making more, but I never spend a lot of time actually focusing on what is coming in and what is going out, right? Because I was so caught up in it all and the excitement. And so there wasn't that efficient management of, my finances. Because when I look back at certain things, like I was overpaying certain people. I was incurring expenses that were not necessary, right? And so there's that opportunity this year to really become more fiscally responsible, and to, just like I said, pivot into different things. So it was a really interesting year. I had
Wow,
one
that's
business
a
that was
lot
going
of
well, and the other
learning.
one that was, yeah,
That's a lot of learning. So
a lot.
and thank you so much for sharing that piece, because sometimes I believe that when those of us doing podcasting have guests and you talk about the successes, people don't also understand that with success also comes some challenges, and
Hmm.
it's not all rosy.
Yeah.
And I think we shared before we came to the fore that yes, you're incurring losses and challenges there in real estate in Jamaica. As much as I'm looking at some increment of financial hits on real estate here
Hmm.
because of probably lack of effective decision making and whatnot. And reflection helps us pivot or make smarter decisions and come back to the table and say what is the best way to go. Without that, you and I will not be wise enough to create
Absolutely.
and keep making the things we're doing. And it's also part of life's transition. I believe that we have to go through all that. But I discovered that Flip Academy has a co-founder. I didn't know Flip Academy had a co-founder.
Yes.
Is
One
it
of the things,
new?
it is new. One of the things I forgot to mention in terms of success is that I had my most successful trade last year, where one of my stocks went up almost $50,000 within like a space of like 3 days. And that was huge, because I've gotten a lot more prudent, with my how I go about investing in stocks. I'm far more calculated and I'm far more precise in terms of my expected outcome. And I've seen massive gains over the last few months in terms of my investment portfolio, my stock portfolio. So I forgot to mention that piece. But in terms of co-founder, yes. So we brought on our co-founder last year, August last year. His name is Miguel. He's based in New York, and that was a strategic move as we look forward to expanding into the U.S. So Miguel already is based in the U.S. He fully understands the education system there, and he comes with a lot of corporate background that is crucial in terms of helping us to expand. And so Miguel, my co-founder, actually is joining me in California next weekend for a 3-day conference. So he's amazing, and I think he's well, not think, I know based on his performance so far that he's a great addition to the team. And he came at like a really interesting time because there's so many really interesting projects that are underway. Last year, we saw our biggest intake of interns. We had over 30 interns based in Canada and the US that was really helping us to build Flip and Floss, and they believe in the mission and they want to help us to do the things that we're doing, which is, giving every child that debt-free start to life that comes with, investment and, the things that you and I wish we knew earlier, right?
Oh,
That's the future that we are
don't
working
start.
toward.
Don't start that conversation. you know, I was listening to a podcast, and it said that parents would rather talk about drugs and sex with their teenagers rather than money.
Interesting.
So, financial education by parents to children is a challenge. And I do believe the other reason why it's a challenge is that the parents don't know. So,
Yes.
if you don't know, how do you teach?
Yeah.
Unless you know and you practice some form of financial education in the home, then the children absorb that. Like for me personally, my father has an economics background,
Hmm.
finance and economics background from Ghana. The only thing that I really did see is that he always had a budget.
Mm.
So you see budget and then he's written it. So that is what I took. So I have my budget as well. Where's my budget book? It's somewhere else.
Yeah.
I have my budget as well. But I budget, but it budgets in me, to be frank. I
That's
budget, but my
hilarious.
budget is budgeting me. So that
Mhm.
is one of the things I picked from him. The rest is research and learning on my own. And I don't know whether I shared with you previously that when I bought my first stock and I got a stock certificate, maybe it was from Bank of Montreal or Scotia Bank, and
Mhm.
I showed it to him. He told me at that time we lived in Toronto, around Shepherd and Wilson, Weston Road. I showed
Mhm.
it to him, and it's like, oh, we I studied about stocks and stock certificates, but I've never seen one before.
Right.
So it's like, wow. So everything has been, self learning. So
Mhm.
and this is what I love about, Slip Academy, that as much as it's for children, it also highly encourages the parents to
Yeah.
be part of the learning. Ca-
Yes. And so we are going through a really big update right now because we've done a lot of user testing in the background with parents, students, teachers, and so the look and the feel of the app will change. And like I said, we're building those AI models because one of the things that we've seen in personal finance these days is sort of like a one size fits all, and we want to say how can we learn about the behavior of particular individuals and give them recommendation that's tailored to them and their behavior, the way they think, the way they perceive and manage money. So that solution should be customized. And so that's what we're building right now. The other piece that we are building is the ability, just like you said, a lot of parents don't understand finance themselves. Now, if we have our AI in the middle, that makes it easy to understand the behavior and then sort of become that coach to the parents, right? That breaks it down, that help them to understand and help them to coach and to guide their children in the right direction. That's sort of like what we're working toward. And we've come across this because we've seen it. Like I said, all the platforms, there's a one size fit all. It's not really effective that way, right? And so we're meeting kids where they are. We're meeting parents where they are. And the other tool that we're working on is this tool that allows parents to save on fees. We look at the U.S. for example. Parents pay over, I think it's like 9 billion US per year or more in fees, and it's a similar number in Canada. So we are looking at all these opportunities to empower people.
Uh, Like in fees, what kind banking fees or
Banking fees, credit card fees, all sort of fees.
mm, 9
And so,
billion?
yes, per year. And if we can put that money back into the pockets of people, believe it or not, if you actually look at the numbers, I wouldn't be surprised that the average person pays about $400 or $500 per year in fees. And if you actually look at that, if you look at the future value of that over a period of time, you'll realize that people are losing a lot of money to fees, right? So that's what our app is promising. We want to put money back in the hands of people. We want to raise money smart kids, and we want every child to have a debt free start, right? It does make sense you're leaving university and you're starting out with $100,000 in debt. Like you're literally starting from the negative and hoping that someday you'll be able to start life. So it's like you're 10 years behind, hoping that 10 years later you can start life when you should be starting life immediately after graduating.
Oh my goodness. I believe you and I may have started life 10 years after university.
It's the same for you and I. That's how it was for me.
Yes, if I knew what I know now, I think I would have been comfortably retired and
Mhm.
be doing this full time. But well, we're still on the path. We're still on the path.
We
But
still have time.
sorry,
We still have time.
we still have time. Okay. It's through these experiences that's why we're having this conversation, so that hopefully, those listening to us will not make the same errors in judgment and whatnot as we did. We didn't know any better. Now
Right.
we know better. Now we are sharing and teaching that it's a possibility.
Absolutely.
So, as you talk about AI, generating models that will be tailored independently um, for people. Now, there's so many misgivings about AI. So I just want from you, in your view, say, for somebody who has no idea about AI, which is AI, what it means and how the ethics around how you using it, because many people have ethical dilemmas about artificial intelligence and its
Mhm.
usage.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, just like any technology, it's just like using the internet, right?
Mhm.
There will be ethical dilemmas, there will be concerns, and technology can use for good or bad.
Yes.
I mean, in layman terms, the way I would put artificial intelligence is just an extremely smart person that is you are putting an input, and if that person is giving you an output, and they rely on the internet. So when I put an input into this AI tool, be it ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever, and let's say, for example, I want to know what is the best way to start a business. This tool scans the internet, and it provides the best output possible, right? And that's just one part of AI.
Mhm.
The other part of AI, and there are so many things that AI can do. AI is really can be used to simplify things, to create efficiencies, and to help us to really make smarter decisions. Like in our case, we're using AI to learn, machine learning to learn about the behavior of students and use that to predict future outcome. So that's another way that AI can be used. Of course, the concerns around AI, they are real because, I mean, first and foremost, we don't have sufficient legislation in place at the moment to like really protect people because the pace at which AI is moving is really outpacing legislation, right? And we need legislation to adequately protect people. And we've seen other concerns around AI and facial, for example,
Recognition.
facial recognition that is incorrectly recognizing, black people, for example, and criminalizing them, right? So there are legitimate concerns. It wouldn't be fair of me to dismiss those concerns. But I just want to highlight that, in our case, we are using AI for the greater good. And that's like with any technology, it can be used for good or bad. In our case, we're using it for the greater good. We are in Canada and we follow strict privacy legislation. And we're going to make it clear to people at every level, what sort of information we are collecting and why we're collecting it so that they know precisely what the information is being used for. And in terms of the ethics that you also speak of, it comes down to the core values of the business as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
For example, we will never use people personal data to sell to anybody or to whatever. So
Yes.
I mean, there are a lot of dilemmas. There's a lot of concerns out there with AI, and the truth is, it will get better. It's just like when the internet came. A lot of people were scared. A lot of people had concerns. But over time, we see the internet creating a lot of opportunities. We were able to see influencers, content creators, podcasters. All of these careers came because of the internet. And so, as AI continue to become normalized and to become more regulated, it will create a lot more opportunity, and we will see more regulated AI and more ethical use of AI.
Thank you so much, guys. You're watching the Nanaya Yabua podcast, whether you're watching on YouTube or you're listening to us on Spotify or any other podcasts. Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. Please remember to subscribe or hit the subscribe button. Now, you talk about core values, and it's like, oh, he just spoke my language.
Yes.
He just spoke my language. So um let's get to, you spoke about core values and some businesses taking our data and selling those data. So
Mhm.
let's talk about some of the core values that Flip Academy espouse
Yeah,
and
of course.
why you chose those core values for Flip Academy.
Yeah, great. I mean, this is a topic that I love as well. I think that the number one core value for us is trust, and we define trust as doing the right thing even when no one is watching. Some
Mhm.
companies will come up with a privacy policy, and
Yes.
somewhere in that policy they bury something unethical, and that to me is not building trust, right? So that's the one that is paramount. The other core value that we have is around collaborative partnerships. So everything that we do, we involve stakeholders. Just like I said earlier, that we are rebuilding the entire experience, and we brought on students, we brought on teachers, and we brought on a lot of community partners to get their input. In fact, our mobile app, we just launched for the first time what we call our design bootcamp, where we actually have kids rebuild the whole experience on the Flip and Floss app as it relates to them, right? So that collaborative partnership piece allows us to work closely with all our partners, right? And another one for us is continuous learning. This is
Mhm.
something that I personally believe in, and this is something that everyone at Flip and Floss believes in, is that we continue to learn, from others, and from our mistakes, and we're going to be open, to receiving feedback at every level. All right, so those are some of our core values, and in fact, these core values, they didn't come from me. So I was not the one who dictate these core values. I mean, I put them out there, but then we actually opened up to a vote. We had about 50 people. This
Mhm.
was probably in 2020 that chose these core values, and we landed on I think four of them.
Oh.
Right, so it was people. We've always been about people. As much as we are a for-profit business, we are a for-people business. Right, so profit is not our KPI. It is a success and how we've changed people's life that
Mhm.
we use as our KPI to measure success.
Oh wow. That is great. That is great. So you're doing this and from background to technology background
Yes.
and now part of the fourth revolution, industrial revolution, AI. Um, i in your view, how do we as persons of color um, you know, utilize AI as a leverage to build businesses or to upskill and become better. So within the in the world.
Mhm. Yeah, no, that's a great question, and I think it was the CEO of, I can't remember which company, but he was saying if you're not incorporating AI in your business, then you're going about business incorrectly, and it's very true. So there are two main ways that I think, as Black founders we should be incorporating AI. Uh, I think the first one is from an intelligence slash efficiency tool. I look, for example, my personal assistant right now is AI. Like, it doesn't matter what I want to do, it is AI. Regardless of the problem, I will frame that problem and I will put it into ChatGPT to get an output. And I will tell you, majority of the time, the output is so brilliant. It is thinking at levels that I could not have thought about in such a short period of time. Not saying it's not possible for me to get there, but within 1 to 2 minutes or less, I'm getting output that is so valuable and rare, right? So that's the first way, is that you can use it as an intelligence tool to help you to make smarter decisions, regardless of the decision, whether it's about marketing, sales, growth, leadership, negotiation. You can be using that as a tool to your advantage, right? Generating proposal, you name it. The other way that we can be using it as Black founders is an efficiency tool, right? So, for example, you want to generate some standard operating procedures for your business, right? Quickly, you can put in an input, and get an output around standard operating procedures for your business. You can literally use this to put systems and procedures in place to make your business more efficient. And then the third way, and I'm sure there are a lot of other ways in which we can use AI, but the third one that I'm going to leave is actually incorporating AI into our products and services to make it much better for our customers. If you're not doing that, then your business is becoming obsolete by the minute. So you need to incorporate AI into your business to enhance the experience for your customers. All right. So those are the three ways in which I would say, as an intelligence tool to help you as a Black entrepreneur to make smarter decisions, as an efficiency tool to help you to scale your business better, and an embedded tool in your products and services to make it better for your customers.
This is powerful. Wow. I feel like it's just been a segmented masterclass in AI utilization. This is so, oh my goodness. It's so juicy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
No problem at all.
Thank you. So, if people are looking for Flip Academy and looking for you, where can they go?
Hey, I'm all over the internet, but you can definitely, people can send me an email at, Andre_Smith at flipandfloss.com. I'm sure you'll share that in the comments. There's our website, flipandfloss.com. I'm on all social media platform, the Flip Boss. So once you search the Flip Boss, you'll come across me. And you can reach out. We can have a conversation. If you're looking to grow your business, if you're just looking to start a business, if you're looking to invest, whatever the case is, I'm here to help. As someone who has built everything that I have to date from nothing, my grandmother was my biggest source of inspiration. She had a shop, a community shop. And, like, one of the things that I always tell people, and maybe it's true in Ghana as well, because I find that we are very entrepreneurial in spirit.
Yes.
We start a
Yes.
lot of businesses. But one of the things that I've found that's always been lacking from Jamaicans, for example, is that we don't scale businesses. So a lot of people start like a little shop in the community,
And
but
stay
they've never
put.
thought about making it across the country or into other regions and things like that. And so that's one of the pieces that's always been lacking, and something that I want to see change.
It's so you hit the nail right on its head. There's so many businesses in catchment areas and they just stuck there without no with no scaling abilities, and unfortunately some of the children also don't want to pick up the businesses of
Mhm.
their parents, those
Right.
who I would believe know better
Mhm.
because they were born in the system here, educated in the system here, and could scale their parent business because our
Yeah.
populations are also growing. But we still have that little, oh, this is my shop little thing mentality and stay
Hmm.
put there and become so comfortable. So getting big is scary for us. Um, I don't know why. It, it probably it's fear. It's
Probably.
fear. So we get really comfortable in our little
Yeah.
spots.
And it's what we've known, right? That's what we
Mhm.
grew up and we see. And like sometimes you don't realize things like if you're in a certain environment and that is the norm, you stick to the norm unless you're taught otherwise, right? And even some people, they might be taught otherwise and they still don't change because of the fear of change. So that's also possible, right? But I think it's multi-layered. But I think a big part of it is because we don't know. Because for me, the truth is, when I used to live in Spanish Town in Jamaica, I wanted to start a shop like my grandmother. And I never thought about growing it beyond that. Because if someone were to say to me, okay, are you planning to scale your grandmother's business? I'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? What do you mean by scaling a business? I wouldn't even know what that means,
Mhm.
right? The very first time I heard about scaling a business was in North America. And at that time, I had no clue what that meant.
I, I do believe there are other challenges we did speak about as well, as in, and what you shared about the business not doing right and whether the leadership and the management of the business. So
Hmm.
I do believe there are systems that with leadership and management also within our communities that we need to take another critical look at and transform the mindset, transform ourselves the mindset, and do more teaching or education to bring out the best in us. So that maybe that is also another area of concern that businesses tend to fail when they try to expand because people that need have been employed to manage those businesses mismanage those businesses as well. Andre, thank you so much. Any last words for us?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I mean, in closing, I'll say, 2025, I mean, as what was 2024, I think is a great year to really seek opportunities and to really push yourself and to get out of your comfort zone, right? There is and there will forever be a lot of money to be made, a lot of businesses to start, a lot of opportunities, but you're gonna have to like sometimes create those opportunities, right? I spent the last month in Jamaica looking at the landscape, trying to see like what opportunities could come, and you have to really create those opportunities for yourself. It's very easy, and especially for us as people of color. One of the things for me, like when I came to Canada, I had a certain thinking dished out to me. This is, as a black person, this is how you're supposed to think. This is how you're supposed to operate. There is this bubble, right? And so I had to dismiss that, and I had to unlearn a lot of the things that I learned growing up in Jamaica. And so really, if you want to achieve success at a level that you've never seen before, you have to be willing to go outside of your comfort zone. And I will tell you, that success to people looking in looks good. To the entrepreneur who's building it, it's painful. So I don't want people to think this is just all easy and it's peaches and roses. It is going to be hard, but is it worth it? Absolutely. I'll leave it right there.
It is worth it, people. You have heard from my brother from another mother, Andre Smith. He is the co founder of Flip Academy, and Flip Academy teaches about money uh, for kids, not only for kids, not only for kids, for families. So, as you've heard us discuss, it's not easy, but it's doable. It's finding a solution to problems in society. I know we all kind of going through the financial crunch, but you need to figure out and find the needle in a haystack, find a problem and create a solution to it. And there is AI tools to help you. So please, it depends on you, the person, how you utilize the tools to your advantage or disadvantage. The tools are there. Utilize it as leverage. You need to know more about financial education. Please connect with him or go to www. I think it's flipacademy.ca. You will get more information. Download the mobile app and teach your kids. Let your kids go through it, teach, and also learn. It is in learning that we teach. And he's done his learning, and I'm learning from him. And we're bringing it to you on the Nana Yaya podcast. Thank you.